if you are ethnic minority person in a country like United Kingdom, it's even more difficult to progress in the career. What Purva has done is she has become the chief medical officer in a university hospital. Absolutely brilliant. So you are a role model, Purva. Thank you very much. Right now the challenge. I've been trying to say we need to keep time. We have to finish at 5:30. Now we got three very eminent people whom I'm going to challenge to stick to time. Now, Sudhir, you challenge other people that they should finish in 7 minutes. Could I challenge? Please come along.
I can do
If
this in
you
4 minutes.
Yeah. So Dr. Sudhir Parekh, Dr. Anupam Sirbal, and Dr. Seth, please come along. Now, you know this is an important topic. I don't know whether we've been talking about career progression and so on. And most of the, sorry, you okay?
Lights.
Yeah, lights. Most of the people here are probably well settled and maybe you don't want to change your career. But if you want to, and there are some medical students, we'll hear what are the opportunities globally. So we have 4 people including myself. So I am from UK. We got Dr. Parikh here from USA, and we got 2 very eminent people from India. And I'll just, in 2 minutes I'll talk about UK. I think doctor and medical student population at this stage are extremely fortunate. The reason is there is a huge shortage of healthcare workers globally. So in UK at the moment, we are short of 10,000 doctors. And the government of UK contacted us as a volunteer organization and said, oh, can you please help recruiting doctors from India? We can recruit doctors from anywhere in the world. But everywhere in the world there is a shortage. So India also has a shortage of doctors. So our topic of discussion is global opportunities in healthcare. And healthcare, I think Hemadri mentioned, is not just the doctors, but the nurses and everybody else, you know, the team. And there is shortage of everything else. So in UK, there is a shortage. And if you want to come to UK, if you are a doctor, you contact me. All right. So now, Sudhir,
4 minutes.
4 minutes. There you go.
Well, let me just touch a few points, and then if anyone interested, we can discuss in detail with the numbers and how to do it. As you know that there is plenty of global opportunities in the medicine. Just in continuation what Ramesh says, that the shortage of doctor in UK, not only shortage of doctor in UK, but shortage of doctor in USA, Canada, and all over the world. So we have to figure it out. There's a lot of opportunities, like American University of Antigua, to help the university develop and get more doctors out in the field. And that is one opportunity. Second thing is, now the whole medicine or healthcare is so much overpowered by IT and digitalization, and it's a good, because then we can get better diagnosis, we can get accurate diagnosis, we can do robotic surgery from distance, we can do telemedicine from distance. And these are the advantage of this IT thing, and that one should take advantage of it. And not only that, but you are not only increasing the growth of the human resources of the healthcare, but also you increases the other job for IT, which is become integral part of the healthcare system. The third thing is, most of the large hospitals, they are having now satellite hospitals all over the world. For example, Cleveland Clinic or Mayo Clinic, they have hospital partnership with the in the Europe, in Asia, and so forth, and plus of course in the Caribbean or in South America. So that's another opportunity. And the more specifically, this outside USA or outside India, or any Indian entrepreneur like Anupam's corporation, Apollo Hospital, if they really want to cash in or make global health opportunity reality, they should start a specialized hospital, a specialized like cardiac hospital or orthopedic hospital in the country, not in USA, country like Caribbean, so country like South America or Central America, and you will be surprised how lucrative or how good it will be. And the last thing I would say that this Ayushman Bharat, which is a great initiative in a large healthcare system, we all through GAPIO and through BAPIO and through other medical organization, we should try to network and try to help that Ayushman Bharat, and we should think about how we can be helpful to them. And one personal experience I'm telling you, I do not want to brag about myself, but I own largest asthma allergy immunology practices in the USA. We have 350 doctors, nurses, they're working for one person, that me. So one person owned by, and how I did, that's what I'm trying to tell you, that it's very easy. So any specialty who is outpatient, like dermatology, asthma allergy, emergency room, means urgent care, those kind of specialty can have my model and can be very successful. Yes. And and what? So I encourage the young doc physician. You can do this thing because you can always acquire a retiring physician practice in that area and try to take over. And the person who will sell, he's going to work for you for next few years, and that way you can continue to maintain your revenue too. So that is another model or opportunities all over the world. I can start in India, I can start in Europe, anywhere. So that's the opportunity. And 30 seconds. And so I think, another thing is that I'm involved in research phase 2 and phase 3 for the pharma company. So there is a great opportunity for American pharma company or European pharma company to do research in India because it's a large base of the patient is available and it's cheaper. Now I think my time is over.
Anupam, so Dr. Anupam Sibal is the medical director of one of the biggest corporation, Apollo Hospitals India, 72 hospitals. You employ how many? 4,000 doctors or so?
Consultants, yeah.
Consultants and so on. So please, 4 minutes. Yeah.
Thank you. So let me tell you a little story. So there's this lady in New York and she needs to see a top specialist. So she walks into the doctor's office and she made the appointment a week earlier, and that call was handled out of a call center in Bangalore. She walks into the office and she meets a nurse, and that nurse, after training in India, had spent 5 years in Ireland and then moved to New York. She is ushered into the doctor's office, and the doctor turns out to be an Indian who had worked in India, then the Middle East, and then had moved to the US 10 years back. The consult goes well, the lady leaves the office, the doctor then starts transcribing, and the transcription happens out of a center in Noida. The billing process then starts, and that is handled out of Hyderabad. The lady is told that she's only going to get part reimbursement for her care. So she decides to go outside the US. So she gets onto the net and types medical tourism and gets 2.4 million hits in 0.1 second. She decides to choose a hospital in India. She chooses a Joint Commission accredited hospital. Joint Commission is headquartered in Chicago. That hospital in Delhi was accredited by 4 surveyors, 1 Mexican, 1 Jordanian, 1 German, and 1 American. She comes to that hospital in Delhi and meets her doctor. That doctor had just moved back to India after spending 20 years in Houston. The doctor orders some tests. The kits for those tests are made in Omaha, Nebraska. He orders an MRI. The MRI is manufactured in Japan. She's put on a medication. That medication was developed by a British multinational, but most of the trials had taken place in China and Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the reality of healthcare today. So we live in a flat world, and globalization is here to stay in healthcare. Now, how many of us here have a smartphone?
Everybody.
Everybody has a smartphone, right? Let's just look at some of the stats. Every month, 2.37 billion users go onto Facebook. 2 billion actually watch a video on YouTube. If we look at how Snapchat, Instagram, WhatsApp are growing, the future is largely going to be about this interconnectivity, and medicine is going to be pretty center stage. Now, why medical social media platforms haven't become as popular as for other professions, but there are a few that have about 500,000 physicians that regularly go on to their platform for information, for exchange, for learning, for seeking help when a patient moves. And while LinkedIn might be way higher now at 67 million or whatever users, we are going to see traction in that space. Patients travel, doctors travel, healthcare professionals travel, and I think it's all going to be about interconnectivity. And I think the kind of globalization that we will see in the next decade, I don't even think any of us can imagine. And I think the rules that we have just now, you can't practice in one state of the US without a license in another state, and this will happen and that will happen, and technology will change that. Because people are just going to sit and get opinions, and they can figure out the legal bits later, but it's really going to be very different. Because honestly, if you look at the way medicine is practiced today, and you look at how we lead our lives every day, you see that there is such a huge gap. Now, none of us actually have a paper ticket anymore. When we go in to watch a movie, we already have a seat number on our phone. We've pre-ordered our coffee. Can you do any of that in healthcare today? The answer is no, but it's going to change, and it is going to happen pretty soon, because we in healthcare might not want it, but the patient wants it, and the patients are going to go to people who are a bit ahead of the game. So I think the way we function today, 10 years from now, is going to be very different. So it's really up to the new generation to see whether they're up to speed with how they're going to make that transition and that jump. And I think 3 minutes, 40 seconds up.
Thank you very much. Well done. Thanks. Now our next speaker, Dr. Abhijat Seth, is actually a very exceptional person. He is the president of National Board of Examinations in India. Now, National Board of Examinations run postgraduate examination, and they have 8,000 seats, postgraduate seats in India. And he knows everything about not only 8,000 postgraduate seats, but also 60,000 undergraduate student seats. So, Dr. Seth, thank you very much. 4 minutes, please.
Yeah, I'll just give a little bit of Indian perspective. First of all, the global opportunities in healthcare, I am the biggest example, because I am a UK citizen working for one of the highest regulatory body of India. So that itself shows that India has opened up a lot. And that openness is now going to show the results. Now what we need, as Dr. Sudhir Bhai and Dr. Sipal said, we need doctors everywhere in all countries, irrespective, because the population has increased and healthcare requirement has gone up. India needs a quantum jump, not the incremental rise. We have been successful in incremental jump, but we need a quantum jump, which is, say, 6-fold to 10-fold rise, and that needs out-of-box solutions. That's what we are now, the government is doing it. The first thing which we did from our perspective is we all came together. Means we have a regulatory body, which is Medical Council of India, our Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, our Planning Commission, which is Niti Aayog, and the Prime Minister of India. We all came together to devise a mechanism by which we can have this these objectives achieved. And we set up objectives. I think when you set up objectives, you will be easily able to work on common principle rather than keeping your subjective bias. That is very, very important. So that is what we have done. And currently we are working on that. So that is number one. The most important thing, I think the most of the countries now need to ensure that the global workforce overall increase is to have an adaptive regulatory framework. Even we have, from Indian perspective, we have moved from a rigid regulatory framework to now we are going to more adaptive regulatory framework where we are eliminating the reciprocity type of clauses, and we are trying to encourage more and more doctors to flow into the country to ensure that the numbers match up with our healthcare requirement. Because we are one of the most important body where government is looking for all initiatives, and I will just give you a few initiatives which we have done so far in close consultation with government. The one of the biggest initiative which we have now planned that we need faculties all over the globe to flow into the India to ensure that they can match up our deficiency of faculties, and we are coming out with a mechanism where international faculty will be able to train the students in India. Now that was never happened before, and it is going to happen now soon. The another thing, we are introducing the postgraduate medical entrance examination in India. Now this is the first time we are coming up with this. This is not only for English speaking countries, this is also coming for non-English speaking countries also. For English speaking countries, the government and ourselves and Medical Council of India has already approved a faculty status for postgraduate degrees. So any diplomats from USA, any FRCS or FRCP from UK, New Zealand, Australia, all English speaking countries will be directly recognized as a faculty by us. The few point of caution which we are going to work, when we liberalize, we have to have certain sticks, we have to put it on the line to ensure that people doesn't default. We also developed one central examination system in which 150,000 students every year sits in a NEET postgraduate entrance examination. And we also conduct the NEET super-speciality examination. Again, at least there are 25 to 30,000 students seats in the examinations. So we are going to adapt the best practices across the country, from the different examination system to ensure that we run very efficient, fair and transparent and equated examination system. So that also we have done it. For the first time, India is starting the international fellowship program in the country, and India will now issue a degree to the foreign graduates, and Medical Council of India has agreed to it, and there are many eminent Indian faculties within the India. So this change is also going to raise our level at the international standard. The one important thing is we invite, like I'm basically a life member of BPO, I'm a life member of BPO also. But one thing I always say is when any organization comes, even though I'm UK citizen, the Royal Colleges comes to me, I always say one thing to them: please come up with the agenda which is in the national interest of India. We are there to adopt anything which fulfills the national objective of India, and we will ensure that any organization, any individual, any experts who comes up with the innovative ideas, out of the box ideas, we are going to adopt as quickly and as smoothly as possible. That is our assurance. Thank you very much.
I think we are not doing bad, are we? We got 5 more minutes. So we will take questions. Questions will be about global opportunities for doctors. So yes, we have a microphone somewhere there. Where is the microphone? Okay.
I've been to several hospitals in India. I've been to Apollo Hospital, State Medical College, and other hospitals. But in Apollo Medical College, Apollo Medical Hospital, the number of patients they see in an hour or in some time it will be more. The doctors really see very quick, and we'll be going to the radiology department. We take X-ray, MRI. You don't need to wait for long. Everything runs quick. So patients don't mind going there because it saves their time. And also, in no time you'll get the diagnosis. In fact, the hospital is in the main part of the city. Even though the infrastructure, the space is very small, but they are so organized. And I feel like the government should bring up a plan for every hospital to have that kind of setup, so that you don't need to increase the number of doctors. It's a long run, right? Before that, you can have a proper setup by the government. So I think this idea should reach the government.
Anupam, you want to comment?
Yeah, thank you for the compliment.
Any other questions?
Basically, I think we will never have as many doctors as we need, but I think how many we need itself, that calculation is wrong. Because I think 30 to 40% what a doctor does should be done by a doctor anyway. And I think that is going to be redefined pretty soon. And once that happens, I think we'll be able to bridge the gap.
Thank you. Please ask.
According to Government of India, right now we have in India about 320,000 doctors, and by 2022, India needs, because of Ayushman Bharat plus other need for India's healthcare, minimum 1 million doctors. So in 4 years, you have to come up with another 700,000 doctors. So I would suggest to our President of National Board that, of course, 64,000 people takes exam and only 8,000 both become successful. So remaining people, they don't have that specialty, so they go into some hospital administrative job or whatever. So then again we are shortage of doctor again and again. So why not, just like USA, UK, we developed this nurse practitioner and physician assistant, which is a shorter course, less restriction, less rigorous examination, and at least is better than having Ayurvedic or a homeopathic doctor to treat the patient.
So I'll tell you, sir, it's a great concept to have a nurse practitioner. It is great concept to have a physician assistant, and in fact, the government is pushing very hard. We have two problems. I'll tell you very frankly and clearly. Everyone wants to do it. At the same time, they have a huge concern about it. The first problem is our existing IMC Act. If IMC Act, we have to abide by IMC Act because it's a parliamentary act. If it doesn't change, this is going to create a problem for us. That is number one. Now, this is a one side, which is a regulatory mechanism, regulatory law. The another side is, the biggest problem with our system is not about infrastructure, not about resources. Our problem is a diversity and dichotomy. So at one places you have the best, at the places you have a worst also. So the problem is a consistency is a problem. And when you don't have, now we are in transition. Eventually this is going to happen, sir. I can promise you, if even today, whatever the level of resistance in India is, at some point of time, this is going to happen. But when we are in transition, when behavioral change is required, it will take certain time. And please allow us certain time, and we'll put it all these things into the right. And meanwhile, I will just tell you one more thing, that together with the Ministry of Health, with Niti Aayog, with MCI and ourselves, we have already created a plan that by 2025, we are going to have a WHO ratio of 1,000 to 1 doctor in the country. That means we are going to add 90,000 doctors in next 6 years. Now, I can't disclose the plan because there are It's a plan which is almost like one book. So that is the plan. We have made it, and I can promise you we will do it.
Thank you very much. That's good plan for India, but we are thinking of global. So, Sanku, your question, but make it very brief.
Not a question, it's a comment. Actually, you know, in the United States, people are getting away from organized hospital-based beds, and everything away from the hospital is not only profitable, but it is doable. I'll give you just an example. 25 years ago, I and a few colleagues started a surgery center away from the hospital, nothing to do with the hospital, very simple to start. We did not even put any money. We just went to the bank, and the bank gave us. We started 25 years ago. All those my partners, there were 10 of us, 9 of them have retired and gone. So I'm the only one remaining. So I was smart enough to take other younger partners. Aggressive, very competent, extremely good. I'll tell you one example. We do total hips and total knees in the surgery center. They are home that afternoon. Total hips and total knee, not partial, not ACL and all that. So they have added so many services, and the cost is 1/5 to 1/8 to 1/10 of the hospital. So the insurance company loves us, and they do a bundling. So I'm thinking in India too, so going to the hospital for everything, we should separate out, nothing to do with the hospital. I mean, it is totally acceptable way of care, and government doesn't like it. That's the other thing. They are very, you know, maybe there will be a little bit of a resistance from the other hospital, or I don't know what the scenario is in India, but very successful in every field, ophthalmology, etc.
I think that's the entrepreneurship amongst doctors doing that. It's a lot more common in America and probably in India as well.